Things began like any normal Friday night. I and a couple of friends were going to go out and have a few drinks at a local bar. As I got to my apartment, I jumped into the shower to start to get ready while my roommate went to her room to get ready. I finished and walked out of the bathroom to my room and started to get ready to head out for the night. As I was getting dressed, I heard my roommate scream loudly. I dropped what I was doing and ran to her room to see if she was all right. I walked in to see her cowering in the corner of her room, white as a ghost and shaking. She was babbling hysterically, saying that something was looking in at her from the window. I looked towards the window and didn't see anything but the light coming in from the other apartments across the courtyard. I asked what she had seen and tried to tell her she might have been mistaken. We live on the third floor of a 5-story apartment building, and there is nothing outside the window but a 30-foot drop. My roommate was hysterical and scared out of her wits. I took her to the living room and sat her on the couch. I then went to my room and put on a robe or a nightshirt, since I was only in my underwear. My roommate didn't want to be left alone and actually followed me to my room and waited there as I put on a robe and joined her in the living room. After about 20 minutes of calming her down, she finally told me what she had seen in her window. She said she was getting dressed. When she turned to face the mirror on her dresser, she saw a pair of bright orange eyes staring at her from the window. These eyes were attached to a creature that was staring back at her. My friend lost it and started screaming hysterically and backed herself into the corner. She said she was filled with an overwhelming feeling of complete and total terror. She felt like the creature was looking at her as though she was prey. She said she felt like a rabbit and was about to be pounced upon by an eagle. I tried to rationalize with her what she had seen, telling her it might have been an optical illusion, or maybe it was the jitters from a week of hard studying. She dismissed everything, saying that she had seen what she had seen. As I sat there comforting her, my cell phone rang from the other room. I got up and ran to my room and snatched it up from the top of my dresser and answered it. It was my boyfriend and one of his buddies, and they were talking a mile a minute. It sounded like they were out of breath. As I tried to get him to slow down, I walked past my roommate's open door, and to my absolute horror, I saw a pair of glowing red eyes looking through the window at me. They stared at me for about 3 to 4 seconds. Whatever it was abruptly left. Like my friend, I totally lost it and screamed at the top of my lungs and sprinted into the living room. My boyfriend was now screaming into the phone, "What's wrong? What's wrong?" Within 2 minutes, he and his best friend were pounding on the door to our apartment, followed shortly thereafter by one of our neighbors who had heard us screaming. Once we assured the neighbors that we were fine and they did not have to call the police for us, we shut the door and I immediately lost it when my boyfriend held me. We told him what my roommate had seen in the window and that whatever it was had came back again, and that's when I had seen it. And then he began to tell us that he and his buddy were on our way to our apartments to pick us up when they had seen what they described as a large bat with large glowing red eyes perched on the top of a basketball hoop in the neighborhood park. They stated that it saw them and flew into the air with an audible whoosh. He states that there were about 6 people in the park and all of them have seen it when it taken off, saying that there was no way anyone could have missed it. It was about 6 to 7 feet tall, dark gray with intensely glowing eyes. He says that they saw it easily when it took off and headed away from the park due to both the lights of the city as well as the nearly full moon that night. They both lost sight of the creature after about 5 seconds. That's when he picked up the phone and called me. He says that when they heard me start screaming, they sprinted the block and a half to the apartments. Needless to say, none of us went out that night, and my boyfriend and his buddies stayed with us through the weekend. My roommate refused to go back into her room until it was well after daylight. She closed and locked the window and drew the blinds shut. She says that it's the only way she felt secure to be in there after dark. I'm still wary about coming home or going out after dark, even though I know I have to for both school and work. I hope that whatever it was sufficiently scared off by 2 intensely screaming college students, and I hope that I never see it again. I don't think that neither I nor my roommate will ever be the same again after this. My boyfriend told me a few students around campus had been talking about a large bat that some people had seen. A lot of people who spoke about it were spooked by it. I never figured that anything like this could be seen in a city as large as Chicago. Another student responds: I was enjoying an evening with my girlfriend as we walked towards the community park. Motion amongst a group of people caught our attention. As we looked towards the group of about 5 people, something caught my eye and I looked up to see this thing fly overhead. It looked like a man with wings. He flew about 12 feet above us and perfectly silhouetted against the evening sky. In all honesty, it looked like an immensely oversized sugar glider, the kind I would see back home in Tasmania. But its eyes were nothing like the soft eyes of a glider. They glowed red. We saw it for about 4 seconds before it disappeared from view. At first I thought it was a man in a hang glider, but it was those bloody eyes that made me think otherwise. I at first thought of murdering someone, but I didn't want them to think I had gone crazy. To say that I was gobsmacked would be a total understatement.